rights that we have for our children because of the parents that have gone before us. The parents that way back in the 70s said, we're not going to stand for our children not being educated. And so they started forming groups and pushing for that legislation. And that's why we enjoy the rights that our children have now, because originally those children with disabilities did not have the right to go to school. Can you even imagine that? So our parent leadership training, and we're going to be talking about that today, and what all that involves is for us to empower you with information, and hopefully you will go and empower the other parents that you have contact with. That extends our reach, because our organization, we're the Parent Training Center, we're the PTI for Texas. We are federally funded through a grant. IDEA mandates that every state have a parent training and information center. Texas has 3 because we're so big. Partners just happens to have all 3 of those grants, PATH, Penn, and TEAM. And right now we're on a 3-year grant cycle, but we're writing the grants right now because our grant cycle ends in October and the next cycle is going to be 5 years long. So they're writing the grants right now and competing for those again. It's a competitive grant process. But that gives us funding to be able to do these types of trainings and the trainings that Kim does. And so we're going to get to know each other. And as I mentioned to those that were here a little while ago, we were informed not too long ago that we had to be out of the building by 3 o'clock. And so that I'm going to be scrunching some information together, hopefully, and expediting this for us. But I don't want us to miss out on anything that's important that we need to talk about today. So we're going to go over the agenda, and then we're going to do introductions and get to know each other. I am Brenda Nelson, by the way, and I'm the leadership training specialist for our whole state. So this is actually, I started in September in this position, but prior to this, I was a regional coordinator like Kim is in Region 3, and I live in El Campo. Does anybody know where El Campo is? Oh, you do? Okay. El Campo is southwest of Houston, about 70 miles between Houston and Victoria on 59, and I'm about 30 miles from Matagorda Bay, and so near the coast. But I am traveling around the state doing this training, and so I was regional coordinator with Region 3 for 2.5 years, and then September 1 I started in this position. And I have 2 children, and Matthew is a senior in high school this year, getting ready to graduate, and John is a freshman, so we're all in high school now. And that's cool. But John has Asperger's. He's on the autism spectrum. And so I've been advocating for him as a parent since he was 16 months old. So that's quite a while. And doing parent trainings and support groups and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get to know y'all. But first I want to go over our program requirements and things just so that we're all clear on what all this is about and everything. So I'm going to give you this. You're going to get lots of papers, so I'm glad Kim gave you a bag to carry all this with you. And if you don't mind, if you have your information sheet filled out, I can take those, so that way I can make notes to myself and whatever. Thank you. I didn't give anybody 2, did I? Somehow I ended up short on.
You don't want to make a copy of it?
Okay, wait, I'll give you 1. Oh, no, I'm not short. I'm just not going in order. That's my problem. Okay. We're good. Okay, so did everybody get one of these that has the charts on it? Okay, so what is this whole leadership thing about? Well, like the slideshow said, we we empower parent leaders so that you can empower other parents. So this is a training that is a little bit more intensive than our normal 1 hour training. So we're going to be here most of the day until 2:45 and get to be out. Because the alarms will be set and that won't be good. And so we're gonna talk about intensively today the ARD process and make sure that we all understand what is supposed to happen at each part in that ARD process, because the intent of this program is to prepare you to go to ARD meetings with other parents, to be that support person, not to be an advocate for them, not to go and speak for them, but to empower them with that information and to support them in that process, because the ARD process is the heart of our special education process, right? Everything revolves around that ARD meeting and what happens in that meeting. There's peripheral things that we do as a parent, but that's where we put that program in place. And so if we can know what is supposed to be happening at each of those parts, and we are going with another parent that may not be as knowledgeable, we can help guide them to know how to advocate at that meeting for their child. So that's really the intent. Hopefully we'll gain more from that, more from this also, to want to go start a support group or do some kind of community activity where you are actively reaching out and helping other parents. That would be a side benefit. So we'll talk about how all that happens. We're trying something a little bit different. Like I said, I started doing this in September, and this is my third all-day training, day one training. And even just in those few months, we've already tweaked it again. You know how things are. It's like, okay, well, that wasn't working so good. Let's make this better. So hopefully, this is going to give you some flexibility to complete the training in your time frame that works for you. So really, you could be done with all of the training requirements in 2 to 3 weeks if you want to, and that's what we're calling the fast track. Or you can extend it out, and really the goal would be, if you look at the webinar schedule at the bottom, February 19th is about a month away, a little more than a month actually, to have all of the requirements completed by then, and so that extends your time a little bit. So it's really up to you how you want to do that. But let's go over what the requirements are to say that, in our opinion, that you would be fully trained and prepared to go to the ARD meeting with another parent. So looking at let's look at the fast track, because that kind of explains everything. Today is our day one training with me. After this, there's 2 online courses that are on our website, and the directions to get to those is right here in that bold, right under the chart. There's 4 trainings on our website that are online trainings, and this is just a self-directed, you read the information and gain that information. The 2 that I'm recommending out of the 4 is, one is procedural safeguards, which is our parent rights, and the other is IDEA 2004, which is our special education law. Okay, we have 2 others on there that are PACER. PACER is a parent training center up in Minnesota, one of the very first parent training centers. They have really good trainings, online trainings on their website. We have 2 of those that are on ours. But procedural safeguards and IDEA 2004, in my opinion, are going to give you a great additional foundation. So I'm hoping that you will choose those. Those to complete, depending on your prior knowledge going into it, should take you about, it took me when I did them, because I went on there to see, I don't ever recommend something to somebody that I haven't done myself. So I went on there to take it, and with all of my prior knowledge, it took me about 2 hours to do both of them. So, you know, you read a part, and they're really, really pretty good. You read it, and then you get to you switch the slide to the next one, and it brings up a little quiz, and it'll quiz you over what you just read. And if you get the answer wrong, it pops up with the correct answer. So it's a very good self-learning thing. At the end of that, you'll get a certificate when you have gone all the way through each one of those. And all you need to do is email the certificate to me. You don't have to print it, put your name or anything. I'll see that it comes from your email, and I'll see, okay, you've completed that course, because you don't get the certificate till you get to the end. And so you need to complete both of those courses. You need to register for that ASAP, even if you're not going to do it for another week or so, because we're a nonprofit. We're a small nonprofit. We have 40, staff members to cover the whole state. So nothing is really automated. So when you register, it goes to a lady in our Beaumont office who physically will send you the password. It takes her a couple days sometimes to do that. So
Yeah, it even took like a couple weeks, and I was working for him.
Yeah, that's not
it can take a while.
yeah. So if you register and you don't hear anything from her, like for a couple days,
Send me or one of us. Yeah.
send Kim or me an email
We'll
and
hunt
say,
it down.
hey, I'm trying to register for this and get this done. We're trying to get her to expedite things. But so it's not automatic. You don't get automatic access. She has to send you the password and all that stuff. So just know that. Because I had people that were trying to get on the day 2 webinar when it was scheduled, and it was a specific time. It's going to be a little different now because I'm going to be recording those, and it's going to be, so it'll be the same for every single one. It'll be a recording. It'll be live still. I'll be on there, but I'm going to play the presentation in a recording format. So anyhow, I had people that were trying to get on it, and they hadn't logged in, and it's like the day before, and I'm like, you're not going to get that access in a day. I'm sorry, it's not working that way. So, so don't wait until the last minute. But this is flexible. So the other part of it is attend the day 2 webinar, and there's 2 parts to it. Each part is about an hour 15 minutes, and I'll explain more later about the 2 parts of that. Well, I'll explain now the 2 parts of that. Okay, so part 1 is, sorry, I'm trying to think fast here. Part 1 is going to be a review of what we do today, because we're going with adult learning principles. We're not kids with flexible brains anymore, right? Okay, I'm just saying. Your brain might be a little more flexible than mine, but it takes me several times to learn something. So based on those principles, we're going to review some of what we do today, but I'm also going to expand it. And so in our webinar format, if you've never been on a webinar, it's really pretty cool. You log on from your computer, you access the webinar. I'm on the other side of my computer. So it's a live meeting. It has a PowerPoint. We go through the slides and everything. You can hear the talking. You can reply in the chat box and ask questions and things. It's kind of fun. It's interactive. And the first part is going to be a review of our art structure, but I'm drawing in art paperwork. So we're going to actually look at some actual art paperwork and say, okay, well, this is the PLAF. What is that supposed to look like? What is that supposed to have in it? And so we can actually see the PLAF. So we can actually find a schedule of services in our art paperwork. So we can actually know where we go to look for evaluations and things like that. Because that's important, because not all art paperwork looks the same. Every single person in here, if we all got our art paperwork out, it's going to look completely different because each district uses its own program, right? There's all kinds of programs. You may have a couple of districts that use the same computer program, but a lot of them use different ones. And so it produces different looking documents, but they all have the same information. And so that's going to be the point of part 1 of the webinar. So we're going to look at that. And then part 2 is going to be, how do you prepare another parent to go to art?
Let me know.
Taking how we prepare for our own child's art and expanding that to helping another parent prepare and what to think about and what questions to ask and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what the part 2 part of that is. And so to complete all the requirements, this today, the 2 online trainings, and the day 2 webinars, we estimate it's about a total, including today, of about 14 hours of class coursework, I guess you could call it. So if you want to expedite that, get those done, and then attend any of these, there's so many of those because we have past leaders that had been trained previously by other trainers beside me, and we've kind of lost them. So we're trying to get them back, and so I'm doing refresher webinars where they need to attend to just get a refresher course. And so some of these are refresher webinars, some of these down here, the 12th and 19th, I'm offering an evening time also. So the others are in the morning. Down here, February 12th and February 19th, we'll also have an evening session. So if evening is better for you, you can sign in at that time. It's the same sign-in, it's just sign in at that time. It's going to be all one webinar. I'm just going to take a break between part 1 and 2 and start playing it. So it'll play at that time. Okay, so if that doesn't make sense, just, you can call me or email me and ask me about that. So after we complete all of those requirements, we'll have a conversation, and I'll say, how do you feel about going to ARDS with other parents? You may already go to ARDS with other parents, and so you're like, that's no big deal. That's great, I'm ready to go, sign me up. Or you may say, I don't know, I think I need some more training. I'm not quite sure on this or that, and that's perfectly fine too. So we want you to feel totally comfortable. Or maybe I'm not quite ready to go by myself with another parent, but I could go with Kim and that parent and myself. So we have lots of different ways, but we hope that this will make it easy for you to complete all the requirements and be a certified leader. I've given you the new Parent Leader newsletter. That's the first edition. Just went out yesterday and froze up my email because they thought I was doing spam. And I'm like, no, So anyhow, that's going to come out once a month, so you'll be on that list to get the newsletter. It's just going to have just information specifically for parent leaders that have gone through a program. I also gave you the webinar schedule, and those started also this week. I actually do the boot camp webinars, and I've been doing those for a year and a half. And then Chuck now, our education specialist, is going to do 2 each month that I'm going to moderate for him. One is a Q&A, and one is a in the know. And let me tell you, Chuck, he knows
everything. Now, he is not a webinar king by any means. He is slow talking. You have to force yourself to pay attention. He's not entertaining, right? But he knows everything.
Yeah. You ask him anything about anything.
And he was actually a special ed director for China Spring and their co-op for a while years ago. So he's been in other areas. So
he is a wealth of knowledge. He is he's been our executive director forever, and anyhow, so we're gonna try it. And since I'm moderating it, it'll be kept to okay, Chuck, we got to move this along, kind of thing. So anyhow, that's what's going on with all of that. Are there any questions about the requirements? Does everybody think that sounds doable to them? Okay. I think you're going to get a lot of great information from all of it. We've got lots to talk about today, so let's go on to who are you and why are you here? And we're going to keep it short. We don't have 10 minutes for every person, unfortunately, because we got to be out of here quick. So tell us who you are. I told you a little bit about me. Why are you here? Why do you want to do this? And where are you from? And we will start here with Donna, right? Yes. Donna, you are up.
Donna Jarman. I'm from Belton, Texas. My granddaughter has Rett syndrome, and I've worked in special ed for a long time. And I was also a sign language interpreter. So I thought, God just gave this child that could communicate to me so that I can help her communicate. Well, guess what? Rett syndrome can't even communicate with sign language. So I've had to learn a whole lot of things from the bottom up. Diagnosis, genetics, the doctors, the whole thing. And so I really think that I made it through it, and there were times I thought I was alone, and I want to let other parents know that they're not alone, that there's people that can help.
So are you actually raising her?
We were, she's back with her mom now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've done the whole special ed thing and to learn all of that.
And actually I've already taken those 2 classes
Oh, you did?
Yes, and I've already been charged too. So.
Okay, great. Perfect. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kelsey McCarter. I live in Coppers Cove, Texas. I'm actually her daughter. I'm the oldest of three. And I am a senior in college, and I have a whole host of physical disabilities that I have to deal with. And my two brothers also have a couple of diagnoses. She'll do that. And I just wanted to come to kind of learn a little bit more since I'm going to be at home. I can go to meetings and learn stuff. No children of my own, but that's it.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here. What are you studying in college?
My original major was architecture, but because of my disabilities, I had to change it to architectural studies.
Oh.
So it's just a slightly less
Okay.
degree.
Cool.
I'm Mary Monica. I have 4 children, ranging from 18 to 11. 2 older ones, no disabilities. The 2 younger ones both have autism. I'm also a single mom, and I'm with Hot Tan and now Caregivers Ladder. And
My name is Debbie Ochoa, and I'm from Clifton, Texas. I have 2 daughters. One's going to school at Mary Hardin Baylor in Belton. She's getting her master's degree. She's an athletic trainer. And my youngest one, Mallory, she has spina bifida. So that's the reason I'm here. I've learned everything the hard way as a parent, kind of, the school doesn't tell you a lot. So unless you learn some other way, I want to be able to help parents like me and make it a little bit easier for them and know their rights and help our children.
Awesome.
And I'm going to school also, hopefully become, in the future, a special education teacher.
Awesome.
I'm Karen Bolger, I'm from Coppers Cove. I have 3 children. I have a almost 21-year-old daughter, then I have an 18-year-old son, about to turn 19. I believe that he has Asperger's syndrome, but he's never been diagnosed. But now that I had another son, he's 10 now, he definitely is on the autism spectrum, has been diagnosed. He has he was significantly affected, but through lots of early intervention and just lots of hard work and lots of research, I feel like I've done pretty well getting him, along the road. I guess I finagled the special ed spectrum, I'm going to call it, because it can vary depending on where you are, what kind of teachers you have. I also feel like I've been called I work with children on the autism spectrum. I work for a school district in a specialized district program for children with autism that are nonverbal. I have the highly volatile behavior, nonverbal issues. We're doing all kinds of new technology and new trainings and things ourselves to see how far along we can get our children. I think we're running a successful program. But I also see there's a balance that needs to take place, I think, between parents and the school. And I think the school does this, our process, and they do this process, and they do this process, and they have so many every day that it just becomes routine. Well, it's not routine for parents. It's not routine for us. Our kids are not routine. And they each have their own individual need. And I think, not that they get, so I'm here on a twofold mission, really. I'm here for myself as a parent to help other parents. I also want to learn as much as I can. I'm going to school also right now to see if I can be a special educator, because I think I have a lot to offer being a parent, and I've worked with these kids for about 5 years now. I see both sides. I see the struggles, I see the successes, and I think there's a good balance for us in here somewhere. So that's why I'm here. And I think I want to bring something back to the table on the district side. I want to be able to say, look, this is what you need to do for your parents, because this is what they need.
Yep.
And it's not that this school, I am very fortunate. I work in a really good school, I think. We really try hard. We've got some young people with innovative ideas, and it's incredible. And we kind of push those old ideas aside. And I think that there's a balance. We've got to be able to reach each and every individual kid. I think we do a pretty good job of that, but the parents are left behind sometimes. because they don't know the acronyms, they don't know the words, they don't know, and they don't feel comfortable enough. And I want parents to feel comfortable enough to walk in there and go, this is what I want for my kid, and why don't you give it to me? And not, it doesn't have to be a fight. It's like, we just need to be comfortable enough with one another, to be able to talk openly. So that's where I'm at. I'm sorry, I'm long-winded.
You just inspired
us.
I know.
I want to take somebody else's
Everybody's
spot.
like, yes, that's it.
And I'm Anita Carney, and I have a son with autism. He's 17, and